what is y'all's thoughts on Apex and match point format? Now, again, for those that didn't see, I tweeted something out yesterday and I got a lot of flack for it. And go into this tweet with a very open mind, because I know, and I'll never understand why, but I know that the Call of Duty community loves to hate on Apex for whatever reason. I was like, Apex is trash. Apex, the game's trash. Like, Warzone's way better, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, why is it trash? Because it's trash. I'm like, have you ever played the game? Have you ever watched any competitive tournament for Apex? They're like, no. I'm like, well then, how can you say it's trash? I personally love Apex. Watching Apex comp is incredible. So, my boy reposts this tweet. He said, seeing ALGS makes me so sad. Hope one day we can have something even close to a league in Warzone. Again, approach my tweet with an open mind. What I do want to say is there's no such thing as a professional pro Warzone player. Yes, there's tournaments. Yes, there's creators. We say pro, but at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a pro Warzone player. There's no pro league. There's no league. Everybody is technically a content creator at the end of the day. So I said, I can't see this happening ever, in my opinion. There's a reason Warzone is so popular, because a new player on a PS4 Slim, I'm kind of trolling on this, but can kill anybody anytime, not a bad thing, and it caters to the casual gamer. Again, not a bad thing. Warzone will never be competitive or have a skill gap like Apex or Fortnite because it would lose its core audience. Now again, the reason that Warzone is so popular is because it caters to the casual audience. Not a bad thing at all. I'm not mad about that. But when people realize that, life gets easier. I remember in like Warzone 2, even some in this game, Warzone 1, I was like begging. I was like, can we get a skill gap? Can we get better movement? You're beating a dead horse. When people realize that the sweats are the 0.000000001% of the target audience for Call of Duty, life gets easier. And again, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but like, if you look at a game like Fortnite, right? If you take a Clicks or freaking Peterbot, or you take a game like Apex with a How or a Jen Burton, and you drop them in the same map. If you put the casual player or a below average player in those games, if you put them up against them, there's not a single chance they ever kill them. You think somebody is gonna outbuild Peterbot. You think somebody's gonna gun Jen Burton. Not a chance. Warzone, the amount of cheese in Warzone, again, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. That's why Warzone is so popular. They could kill anybody. And I'm not saying that's bad, but like when people say Warzone can be competitive, it will never be competitive. We'll never have a league. It's not gonna happen. So like this whole argument is so dumb to me. I'm like, what? I don't understand why the Call of Duty community, one, hates on Apex so much. Apex, bro, watching match point format for Apex is so fun. Again, in my opinion, Apex match point format also works because they have characters and abilities to do certain things, to rotate, to res people and bubble and everything. Like, and even though a zone may not pull in their favor, they still have a chance to win because of the character's abilities, the time to kill, the movement, all that kind of stuff. If Warzone, which it seems like they're trying to go down that path of just copying Apex and the match point format, I'm like, Warzone, the match point format is so RNG because one, comparing Warzone and Apex, they're not even close to the same game at all. We have a gulag, we have buy stations. Like with Apex, you have to play your life way better because if you die, you can find a Moby maybe. You can maybe find a beacon, which is not going to be very, like, those get camped. And like, you have to take every fight super serious. With Warzone, people are rezzing, gulag, the go again gulag. Like, there's so many ways to keep coming back. If zone pulls away from you in a match point format, or you don't have 97 stims, durables, self-reses, you lose. Like, the games are so different. No, Apex actually is the perfect competitive BR. Just to play the devil's advocate, Advocate though, Apex has so much of a learning curve where you can use different legends to gain advantage. Within COD, there isn't anything like that. They can particularly add taking weapon tuning, for instance. They tried to add that, which became too convoluted for people. I don't even know. Especially casuals. What could Call of Duty do to help create a real skill gap? Generally curious, not hating, as I agree. I'm not saying that Call of Duty should add a skill gap at all. At all. Because there was this example from my very close homie Dreamstrike. He said, you're 100% right, but I think they could do something like Fortnite did with build versus no build. I think most companies should be doing what Epic is doing right now. 100%. In my opinion, it's different, because I said Fortnite did the no build to bring the casual player back to the game because it got too sweaty with building. And again, if I'm Activision, why would I waste resources, money, and all that catering to only sweaty players? I think it was the opposite of, for Fortnite, they did no building to bring back the casual player. All of the sweats are already playing Warzone. Straight up. Like, it doesn't matter. Where that's a little bit different, in my opinion. I would love a crazy skill gap. But it's not gonna happen though. There's no point in COD doing that and wasting precious resources. As we can see, every update breaks the game. And the other thing was, a long time ago, with the worst Warzone ever, for Warzone 2, I wouldn't have minded weapon tuning in the game. Now hear me out. I wouldn't have minded weapon tuning in Warzone if it actually worked. You know how every single attachment, you could tune the bullet velocity or the aim down sight speed or the strafe speed or all of that. It didn't really work. You could tune a ton of stuff for strafe speed and ADS and all this stuff, and it didn't really feel like it did anything. I really wouldn't have minded weapon tuning if the way you tuned your gun made it feel like how you tuned it. Like in the OG Verdansk days, how you could build a AK and put attachments on it to make it feel like a sub. I wouldn't have minded for Warzone 2, you could build a gun and make it feel like a certain way with tuning. Build a sub and make it feel like an AR. Build an AR and feel then like an SMG and have crazy strafe speed and all that, but the tuning was pointless. It didn't actually do anything that like you could tell a significant difference of like, wow, this feels way different. I just feel like it's just like a pointless, because I see it all the time of a ton of people like begging for like lands for Warzone, all this, like, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, it's cool. I'm very competitive. I love playing tournaments, but like, we'll never get to any level like Fortnite or Apex and have an actual league for Warzone, because our Warzone is not competitive and doesn't have a skill gap for that, which is fine. Warzone is so popular because it does cater to the casual player. Anybody can pick up Warzone and drop in, get kills. That is their target audience, and that is why Warzone is so big. That is why the game is still popping, because it will always be a very, very casual game. Nothing wrong with it. But when people, and again, I did it for a long time. I did it forever. I was pushing for a skill gap, pushing for more movement, longer time to kill. Once I realized like I'm not their target audience, sweats are not their target audience, life got way better. Life got way easier. A lot of COD sweats need to realize that. But they could make a mode like Iron Trials specifically for tournaments, but